Welcome back to the show, Xtra Rich. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and hit the bell button next to it so you're notified whenever these videos drop. On the menu today, we have Black woman who left U.S. for Russia to escape discrimination. Seems like this one's been going viral recently, so let's dive into it. What in the world happened there? There we go. Let's rock.
A Black woman who moved from the U.S. to Russia to escape discrimination and racism revealed on social media that the entire plan backfired on her in a disturbing way. Francine Villa was born in Russia but moved to the U.S. with her family when she was a kid. In a heartbreaking video, Francine claims that both she and her baby were brutally attacked by racist neighbors in Moscow. She detailed the alleged assault on Instagram. Now, the fact that the attack occurred in her homeland is an extra painful blow. Villa had previously spoken about her move in the 2020 documentary Back in the USSR, which aired on the Russian state media channel RT. Villa said that her great-grandfather George Tynes, who hails from Virginia, worked as an agriculturalist after moving to the Soviet Union in the 1930s. Now, much of her family still lives there, but at a young age, she moved with her mother to the United States. It was there that she spent most of her life until experiencing what she described as a traumatizing experience with police. Villa explained in the documentary that she'd approached officers for help during an emergency, but that they turned on her instead, throwing her to the ground. It was then that she decided it was time to leave. That was back in 2019. Here is how she explained it. Quote, "Why did I make up my mind to move to Russia? I wanted to leave a country where I was facing discrimination. After a year living in Moscow, she told RT, quote, I feel free living in Russia because in Russia, no matter what time it is, I can walk outside and I'm safe." 5 years later, that proved to be a fantasy. Following the...
Hold on. So let's backtrack a little bit. So I need more backstory to this whole police encounter. She said she went to the police for help and then she ended up getting thrown to the ground or something. Like they ended up turning on her. I feel like there's more to the story that we're missing. Are there some bad cops out there? Yes, sure. There's bad people in every, occupate or field of occupation. But for you to ask a cop for help, genuinely ask a cop for help, and for them to turn on you and I forgot what she said, arrest her or throw her to the ground or something. Let me see. Hold on.
Until experiencing what she described as a traumatizing experience with police. Villa explained in the documentary that she'd approached officers for help during an emergency, but that they turned on her instead, throwing her to the ground. It was then that she just...
Throwing her to the ground. Like, no cop is just randomly throwing people to the ground for no reason. Like, what were you doing? Were you yelling and screaming in their face after they told you, hey, relax for a second? We trying to work out this situation. We trying to figure out what's going on, and you're being belligerent and yelling and doing something crazy. Like, I feel like there's a whole lot more to the story that we're not being made aware of, because that just sounds weird to me. Like that just sounds like a bold-faced lie. That's just my humble opinion. Y'all can let me know how you feel it in the comments.
Decided it was time to leave. That was back in 2019. Here is how she explained it. Quote, "Why did I make up my mind to move to Russia? I wanted to leave a country where I was facing discrimination. After a year living in Moscow, she told RT, quote, I feel free living in Russia because in Russia, no matter what time it is, I can walk outside and I'm safe." 5 years later, that proved to be a fantasy. Following the alleged attack, Villa took to Instagram with blood still on her face, saying a couple in her apartment building beat her with fists while she was with her 2-year-old and yelled racial slurs at her in Russian. In edited footage shared by Villa of the incident, the couple can be seen arguing with her in the hallway of her building, threatening to throw out her belongings while... In edited footage shared by Villa of the incident, the couple can be seen arguing with her in the hallway of her building, threatening to throw out her belongings while she was seemingly blocked from entering her own apartment.
Вы в России давно живете?
А у вас прописка есть здесь? Дай мне войти в мою квартиру. Прописка есть?
Почему вы ко мне на «ты»?
Я не могу выйти и входить в свою квартиру. Напугает моего ребенка.
Кого? Он пуганный, плачет, бедняжка. Да, зайка, ты плачешь, да? Плачешь, зайка?
Now, she accuses her neighbors of changing the locks, cutting off the electricity, and even tossing her baby's stroller down the stairs. She also claims her child was left with bruises following the incident. In footage taken from a hospital, Villa can be seen weeping in distress in the aftermath of this alleged attack. She says she's filed complaints to the police but claims they aren't helping or responding.
Oh, there's so much to unpack there. There's so much to unpack. So on one hand, you take a dump on the U.S., and then on the other hand, you want to cry and complain and try to, get some type of sympathy from folks in the U.S. when you left the U.S. to go to Russia and took a shit on the U.S. on your way out the door. Well, I don't like the U.S. because it's not safe. But in Russia, I could walk around being safe. I could walk around at any time and be safe, which also leads to the second thing that I wanted to talk about, which is there's more to that story than what we're being told, because she literally said, I can walk around Russia at any time of day and be safe. But then she basically insinuated that these people are racist because they called her black ass, I guess, or whatever. There's more to this story. There's more to this story, because if Russia was truly racist, like it seems like she's trying to claim when she went to the police and the police didn't help her, then why would you say, well, I can walk around here at any time and I'm safe? If the police were really that corrupt, you wouldn't have said that. If the people are really that racist, you wouldn't have said that. So I feel like there's more to this story and possibly some things being added to it that really aren't true. Like the whole police, not coming to help her. Maybe they didn't come help because they realized, oh, she's lying about the situation. She did something. And and it seemed like the people in that video, the Russians, were like her landlords or something. I mean, I don't know the laws in Russia and how that works, but the way that it was described at first was like her neighbors were locking her out of her apartment, but your neighbor can't lock you out of your apartment. I mean, maybe that's the law in Russia, but that seems like the owners of the building were locking her out of the apartment. And in that case, what were you doing? Were you not paying your rents? Were you being belligerent and loud and inconsiderate of others around you? Like, what was going on? What was going on? And we know how apartments are, right? We've all stayed in apartments. Those walls, in a lot of cases, are pretty thin, and depending on whether you live on the bottom floor, you live on the top floor, people can hear you walking around, or you can hear your neighbors walking around. If you clapping some cheeks, people can hear that through the wall, if you're playing music, so were you being inconsiderate of the fact that you lived in an apartment and just like living as if you just lived in a standalone single residential family home? Like, I don't know. There's a whole lot to this story, but then also there is a little bit of silver lining in this situation, and it's this. When people take a dump on the U.S. because America is so terrible, what I've often said is that I can guarantee you that most of these people have never lived in other countries, because there's a lot of other countries on this planet. If you did or said some of the things that you do and you say here in America, they will make sure that nobody ever sees your face on this earth ever again. If you went to Russia or to China or to North Korea or a lot of other places and you criticize their leadership the same way that people be online criticizing Trump, calling Trump a dictator and he's a fascist and he wants to be the Putin of America. If you went online and you said those things in those countries where there really are dictators, your ass is grass. Your ass will literally be in the grass. Nobody will ever see you again. So it's all that, which also makes it funny how they say that about Trump, but they freely bash him online, freely, openly, and nothing happens to them. So by definition, he really can't be a dictator, because a real dictator would have had them gone up out of there. And we know that because if you tried that in any of these countries, you never see these folks again. But people truly get to realize, America really ain't that bad. Is America perfect? No place on earth is. Duh. But when these folks be out here, America's terrible, America's so trash, blah, 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 blah. Go live in some of these other countries and see how well it goes for you. See how well it goes for you. Oh, Russia is so safe, and now you're getting punched in the mouth. Now, I don't advocate for people being assaulted. Obviously, you should never be assaulting folks. But like I said, there's a lesson in all of this. And once again, I think there's more to this story that we are being told. That's just my humble opinion on it. I feel bad for her that, she was assaulted and whatnot. But I feel like there's a lot more to the story that we aren't being made aware of. And to all the folks who try to say, America is so terrible, America is so bad. All right. Go to Russia. Say some of those same things out in public. Say some of those same things and post them online. See ya. You're gone. Out of there. And I'll just be sitting back and I'll just say, and America was terrible, huh? All right. Anyway, y'all get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions on all of this. Like I said, I feel like we need more. We need more, okay? And to like run to Russia and then go to the New York Post to like make this whole story. And maybe she didn't contact the New York Post, but I feel like she did. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe the New York Post just picked it up. But I don't know, man. How y'all feeling about it? Talk to me. Stay safe. Peace.